As you roll the top of the table over in the Bundesliga as Bayern make it 9 wins out of 9. Goodness gracious me. Can they make it 10 wins out of 10? We're going to get into it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video today. We're looking forward to match day number 10 over in Germany in the Bundesliga, and we'll get to it in a second. If you know where you've been, smash your subscribe button, subscribe for Blackburn Rovers, Bundesliga, whoa, football, we're going to all here under one Ruski. That's right, stacked fixture list just around the corner, but can anything stop Bayern from running away with the title? Can they make it a perfect record? Can they be the Invincibles? Can they win every single bloody game? Well, we'll take a look at all of it in a second. Big shout out to the members, big shout out to the patrons, big shout out to you, and smash that like button, boys and girls. So let's jump into it. I'm actually recording this slightly ahead of a full fixture list, so we're going to jump over to this screen here. So on the screen right about now, you should see the completed fixture list with, of course, my predictions right next to it. As you can see, of course, my boys, Borussia and Gladbach, got their big fat victory over St. Pauli at long last, and of course, Bayern doing their thing to remain perfect at the top of the table. But that has shaped up this. And as you can see, Bayern doing their thing at the top of the table. And of course, some life in the old legs for Borussia Mönchengladbach towards the bottom end, of course. But don't forget to get involved with the channel as well. We are still cooking with the Prediction League, of course. I might be a little bit behind the times with it myself. But get involved, get predicting. Of course, we look forward to these games that are coming at you this coming Wochenende, which is the match number 10. So let's get cracking, jump into the deep end as we head over to Werder Bremen, that's right, as they take on Wolfsburg this coming Friday night, that's right. At the Wasserstadion, Horst Stephans Werder Bremen are 8th in the table right now, unbeaten the last 4. Up against Wolfsburg and Paul Simononis, just one win in the last 6. They're 12th with 8 points as well coming into this. 59 times they've played since 1997, 26 wins for Bremen, 22 wins for Wolfsburg, and there's been 11 draws. They last played at this venue, resulting in a 2-1 win for Wolfsburg, who have won the last 2 at this venue. Goodness gracious me, they've won back-to-back against Bremen at this one. Of course, Bremen with that draw against Mainz. Of course, Wolfsburg, yep, they took it off Heidenheim last time around. They're bookies, though, for this one. They're going to back Bremen here, unbeaten, like I said, in a good 4 matches. I've gone with a 1-1 scoreline once again on a Friday night. Let's go to the next one. It is Leverkusen up against Heidenheim at the Bay Arena. Kasper Hüschmund, they're struggling right now. Well, not struggling. They're 5th in the table. 1-2, lost 2 in the last 4. Up against Heidenheim, of course, under Frank Schmidt. They're down to the relegation zone. Rock bottom right now. 18th at the table with just 5 points. They played 5 times, these 2 clubs, since 2019. 4 wins Leverkusen, 1 for Heidenheim. There's been no draws. They last played at this venue, resulting in a 7-goal thriller going in favour of Leverkusen. 5-2 it was back in November 2024. Leverkusen, of course, losing to Bayern convincingly. Heidenheim with a solid point, though, against Frankfurt, of course. The bookies, though, will back Leverkusen, of course, and I will as well. 2-0 winners, bounce back ability for Leverkusen. Let's go to Union Berlin, the capital, as they take on Bayern. That's right. Stefan Baumgart's boys are 10th at the table, 11 points for them. 1-2, lost 2, and drawn 2 over the last 6. Because the Bayern side, perfect record, of course, 9 wins on the spin, top of the table with 27 points. They played Union Berlin 13 times since 2009. They've yet to lose against them. They picked up 4 draws and they've won 9 of them. However, the last time played at this venue resulted in a 1-1 scoreline back in March 2025. Of course, the other results all resulting in 4 wins for Bayern out of the last 5. Of course, Union Berlin with a draw against Freiburg, Bayern with that 3-0 win over Leverkusen, and they got Champions League football against PSG this week. Bookies, though, for this one, they'll back Bayern, of course they will. 3-1 win, maybe a little bit of a shout there for Union Berlin to cause a bit of a ruckus over in Germany. Let's go to Hoffenheim as they take on Leipzig at the Priso Arena. Christian Ilsen's boys are 7th right now. They've won 2 of the last 4 matches. Up against Leipzig on Oliveira, they are 2nd, 22nd in the table right now. They're unbeaten in at least the last 9, and they're taking on Hoffenheim 20 times since 2016. 4 wins, Hoffenheim 12 wins, Leipzig 4 draws. They last played, of course, at Hoffenheim. 7-goal thriller it was. 4-3 in favour of Hoffenheim back in November 2024. Hoffenheim are actually back-to-back games unbeaten against Leipzig at this venue. And they're coming into this, though, on the back of that result against Wolfsburg. As for Leipzig, back of that 3-1 win over Stuttgart, of course. Bookies, though, for this one, they're back Leipzig. It's quite tight, though, with the bookies, surprisingly. Am I looking at that right? I am looking at that right. I'm going with a 2-0 win Leipzig to take it, and all 3 points for them this weekend. Let's go to Hamburg. Hamburg SV up against Dortmund at the Volksparkstadion. Merlin Poulsen's boys are 13th right now. 8 points for them, just 1 win the last 3. Up against Dortmund under Niko Kovac. They've won 4 in the mounts in all competitions. They sit 3rd with 20 points. They've played Hamburg 56 times since 1992. 15 wins for Hamburg, 30 wins for Dortmund. There's been 11 draws. They last played at Hamburg, resulting in a 3-0 win for Dortmund, who've won 5 of the mounts against them and have conceded a goal against them in the last 3. Just conceded 2 goals in the last 5. Dortmund on the back of that 1-0 win over Augsburg. Coming into this, though, the bookies will back them convincingly so. I think they'll win this one, but it'll be a tight one, 2-1 win. I think Hamburg will make up for lost time on that one. Then we go to a bit of a derby. Mönchengladbach against Köln. That's right, coming out to the Borussia Park. Jürgen Polanski still in charge. Back-to-back wins now. Of course, got a bit of momentum from the DFB Pokal victory. And then, of course, following on from the big win this past weekend against St. Pauli. Up against Köln and Lukas Kvesnic. They are ninth, just one win in the last 6. They played Mönchengladbach 48 times since 1992. Gladbach winning 26 of them. 13 wins for Köln. 9 draws, of course. The last time they played at this venue resulted in a 3-3 thriller. But it is quite tight between these two sides. Köln have the advantage, lost once against them in the last 6. They're on the back of that loss against Bayern in the Cup. Hamburg, of course, in the league there. Of course, Gladbach with that impressive 4-0 win against St. Pauli. They scored 7 goals now in the last 2. Hopefully, they've turned a massive corner. The bookies on this one, they will give it to Mönchengladbach. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win as well to make it 3 wins on the bounce. For my boys, let's go to Freiburg then as they take on St. Pauli coming at you at the Europa Park Stadion. Freiburg and Julian Schuster, they are 11th right now, just 1 defeat in the last 6. Up against St. Pauli and Alexander Blezin, they're 15th right now, 7 points for them, just 1 win. The last 6. They played Freiburg 23 times since 1995. 9 wins Freiburg, 8 wins St. Pauli, 6 draws, of course. They last played at this venue, resulting in a 3-0 win for St. Pauli in Freiburg back in September 2024. Freiburg on the back of that 0-0 draw against Berlin. Of course, St. Pauli do get stuffed there by my boys, there, Mönchengladbach. Bookies will back Freiburg, though, who aren't busy, with a very, very nice trip to Nice, which, of course, will be happening midweek, of course. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for Freiburg to make it a good, strong week for them. As they look to get some couple of wins together. Kicking off forward, Stuttgart up against Augsburg, of course, on the 9th of November. That's right, at the MHP Arena. Sebastian Hoeneß, his boys are kicking gas right now. 4 wins in the last 6. Up against Augsburg side under Sandro Wagner, there are 3 defeats on the spin. Winners in the last 5, sitting in mid-table in 14th right now. They've taken on Stuttgart 28 times since 2006. 15 wins for Stuttgart. There's been 10 draws. Sorry, there's been 15 wins for Stuttgart, 10 wins for Augsburg, 3 draws, of course. They last played at this venue, resulting in a 4-0 win for Stuttgart, who've won 5 of the bouts against them, haven't conceded a goal against them in the last 5. And just the 1 goal conceded in the last 6. Stuttgart are losing to Leipzig most recently. Got final in the midweek for some big old European match. The bookies, though, for this one will back Stuttgart. I'm going to back them as well. 2-0 winners. They are definitely a threat for Champions League once again. And then finally, we go to Frankfurt as they take on Mainz. That's right, coming at you, the Deutsche Bank Park. Dieter Top Muller's boys are 6 right now, 14 points for them. Just 1 win, though, in the last 6. Up against Mainz under Bo Henriksen, also 1 win in the last 6. They're in trouble right now, actually. 17th at the table, 5 points for them. They've played Frankfurt 44 times since 1996. 14 wins for Frankfurt, 11 wins for Mainz. There's been 19 draws. They last played at this venue, resulting in a 3-1 win for Mainz, who, of course, only won once against them in the last 6. They're coming into this Frankfurt on the draw against Heidenheim. Mainz also a draw against Bremen. The draw for the bookies on this one, they lean in favour of Frankfurt, who've got a busy week themselves, as do Mainz. Both sides in European action, of course, and hope to get results as well for both of them. But I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Frankfurt. That is my take on it, guys. So make sure you get your own picks in as well. And if I'm right, guys, this is what the table will look like, of course, at the end of it. And, of course, don't forget to get those picks in, like I said, of course. And then we'll come back, of course, after the international break. Hopefully, home sailing now to the end of the year. And, of course, hopefully some big victories for Borussia Gladbach and co. But until then, we'll see you soon. Whenever we return, whenever that is, I'm done.